I'm Claudia from Food from Cloud9 and today we're making brownies. So my perfect brownies need to have that smooth shiny top and they need to be very fudgy. I don't want any cakey brownies whatsoever, and I have a couple of tricks up my sleeve to get just that result. So what do you need to make those perfect brownies? You need some self-raising flour, some dark chocolate, 70%, some unsalted butter, some plain old sugar, eggs and a little bit of salt, and that's all. You'll also need a KitchenAid or a heavy-duty hand mixer and a pan for au bain-marie for heating up your chocolate and butter. Turn on the stove, put your chocolate in and add your butter. Important is that you whip the eggs with the sugar for at least 5 minutes until they become very yellow and fluffy. Of course, also don't forget to preheat your oven to about 190, and that's Celsius. So now you can hear me. Grease your baking sheet or your baking dish. This is 23 centimeters, 9 by 9 inch with butter, and line it with parchment paper. For your eggs and your sugar, it's important that it's doubled in volume, and also when you whisk it and pull it up, that it falls in ribbons onto your mixture. That means you beat it up enough. Whisked it up. Chocolate and butter is melted. Be wary of the hot steam, like this. And then you need to check if the temperature is right, because it needs to be warm to touch. Yeah, it's perfect. But you can test a couple of times if you want to. Okay, so let's add the chocolate. Make sure you get it all. Last step, we'll add our self-raising flour and some salt, because you always need salt when you bake with chocolate. You pretty much always need salt with everything. So let's add in the flour and the salt. And then you need to combine until just everything is mixed. But it's also fine if you see some little streaks of flour in there. You don't want to overmix, because overmixing can cause gluten to form and it will make for a more cakey, chewy brownie. Make sure you get everything at the bottom as well. Okay, perfect. A little tip about overmixing. It can cause your brownie or your baked goods to rise in the oven, but then deflate because there's too much air incorporated. So if you don't want a deflated cake or brownie, make sure you don't overmix. Let's pour it in. You need to make sure you get everything. Also, not drop your bowl. It has happened to me before. So I have a separate thermometer in my oven because it says here it's around 200 degrees and the oven says it's preheated, but it's still only 170. So all ovens are calibrated differently. So if you want to make sure, if you bake a lot, I can highly recommend a separate thermometer. So the oven has preheated and now I'm going to put in my brownies, and the first round is only for 15 minutes and I'll explain why later. So after 15 minutes, we're getting our brownies out of the oven. The brownies have now baked for 15 minutes, but they're not done yet. So we're going to do two things. First, we're going to slam the brownies on our countertop, and we're going to wait for 15 minutes before we put them back in. And that is because we want to make sure the brownies don't rise as much, and also we want to halt the baking process for a bit, and that's why the brownies are so fudgy. Here goes. So the brownies have cooled off for 15 minutes. They are now going back in the oven for another 20 minutes to finish baking. They've just baked for another 20 minutes, so now they're done. Look at that. So now for the hardest part, we have to let them cool off completely, and not just like 4 hours until they're room temp. No, they need to be cold because they're so fudgy on the inside. If they're a little bit warm or on room temperature, they're too soft. So we need to let them cool off until room temp and then put them in the fridge overnight. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi guys, we're back. So as you can tell, it's the next day. The brownies have been in the fridge for the whole night and pretty much the whole day as well. And we're now going to cut them. Just wing it nice and uneven, the way I like it. We actually had a brownie contest. Me and my sister and my niece had to do the reviewing. We blindfolded her, gave my sister's brownie twice and then mine. And this one was the clear winner because it tasted really chocolatey. Which, yeah, it makes sense because there's a lot of chocolate going in here. But, well, just look at it. It's so fudgy, so dense. These are big pieces. That'll fill you up completely, but totally worth it. So enjoy.